back to the channel. I'm out here in the garage thinking about some of the history that we've gone through as car aficionados, or car nuts, if you want to call it that. And as you know, you've seen prior videos where we've talked about the cars that I've owned and reminisced about them and thought about the memories, but also thinking about restoring them and keeping them going. But as I look over here at my square body 85, kind of have to think a little bit more about things, because I was also looking in the garage here where we have our collection of magazines that I'd collected since probably about 1983, and from there till about 2014 maybe, I think, is when prescriptions lapsed, or subscriptions, sorry, the subscriptions lapsed, and then I no longer got magazines. Obviously the internet has become more of a thing, but it's kind of a sad situation, because I look here at 2012. Let me see if I can get this on the camera. Yeah, 2012, 2011 car, Consumer Reports car edition. Lots of great. Here's a 2006. So this is actually before the time that I wanted to talk about, because between 2006 and 2011, we had a series of events, namely the 2008 global financial crisis and the resulting change in leadership for our country and for the world. And so a lot of the cars that were before 2008 are no longer with us. And you know why? Can anybody guess why? Because of a policy that came into play after 2008, in 2009, maybe 2010, called Cash for Clunkers. Very, very detrimental to the auto industry as far as we're concerned, us folks who are all into all cars and all things automotive. So there's no telling how many of these square bodies were obliterated in the Cash for Clunkers ordeal, because somebody might have this in the barn. Maybe it's not been used for a while and they don't care about it because it's a 1985 Chevy old pickup truck, and maybe they don't know what they have. And the government said, here, we'll give you $1,000 to junk it, or whatever they gave them. Maybe you can fill in the description box below, or fill in the comments with how much they were giving people back then. But you probably know, maybe some of you partook in this debacle, I would call it. And they would take it and run some silicate type substance through the engine, seize the engine up, and then junk the whole car. A perfectly running, good old, clunker. Some people call them hoopties. Some people call them beaters with the heater. Some people call them a car that's good for their kids, a car that's good to get to work and back, a work vehicle that's not expensive but can get you from A to B, point A to point B. But they ended up scrapping them all. Here's an interesting ad in this 2006 Car and Driver magazine for, what's this, 4th gen 4Runner. Very interesting ad for that back then. The American Wild. And as you see in our previous videos, you can tell the 4Runner has, even though it's a Japanese Toyota, of course, vehicle, it has become an American mainstay, I would say. Even these 4th gen, because these were the first ones that came out with a V8, as you can see right there on the ad. So 2006, these came out in 2003 and went through to 2009-ish. But some of the even first years of these probably got crushed in the cash for clunkers. But the worst thing is all of the 1st gen 4Runners and the 2nd gen 4Runners and the 3rd gen 4Runners, like the ones you've seen in prior videos. Maybe I'll put that link up here. But even the rare 5-speed versions that they don't make anymore, or the 1st gen, 22RE or 22RET turbo diesel versions, I'm sure some of those all went to the trash heap because of cash for clunkers. And are we all the better for it, or are we worse for it? I'll leave that for you to decide for yourself, but for my purposes, I think we're for the worse, because we don't have those cars around anymore. So in any case, I might try to go through a little bit of a history of my obsession with automotive magazines, but not for this video. I think I've said my piece for what I think about the whole cash for clunkers situation, and I hope we never ever go back to that. I hope cooler heads have prevailed over the years since 2009. I think they have, but you never know. There's lots of people out there that are not car people, and they have ideas that do not include any kind of car for you, whether it's even internal combustion or electric. They'd rather you not even have a vehicle of your own, and I don't think that's the way to go, but you might. In any case, let me know if this was interesting by giving me a thumbs up, but also let me know in the comments if you have a thought about the situation as it is now in 2025 versus back then in the 80s, 90s, 2000s to 2010 to 20 decade, and even this decade, and even going into the future. What are your thoughts? Are we ever going to go back to a cash for clunkers situation, or are we going to let cooler heads prevail and just let people enjoy their cars? In any case, thank you, and join us again for the next video here on Driving It Home.